What's up, you guys? Today I'm going to be teaching you exactly how to write a blog post fast. I'm going to be going over the 5 easy steps that I use, and along the way I'll be sharing some of my best tips for writing faster and making the blog writing process a whole lot less painful. Before we jump in, let me just make it clear that I'm not just some YouTube asshole who doesn't know what they're talking about and is just spouting off random tips. I have been a freelance writer for a couple years, and most of that has entailed writing long-form blog posts. So 1,500 words, 2,500 words, 3,500 words, and beyond. Let me tell you, after you do that kind of stuff for a while, you develop methods for writing faster, because you have to. I want to share those methods with you so you can write blog posts faster too. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is pick your topic. So when you pick your topic, you should be crystal clear on exactly who you are writing for. In other words, who is going to be likely to enjoy this blog post? What kind of person is going to want to read it? Make sure when you pick your topic, you're focusing on the big picture as far as your content strategy. You don't want to write a blog post just to write a blog post. The topic you choose should be strategic and should fit in with whatever your bigger blog or business goals are. Once you're clear on what the blog post is going to be about and who you are writing it for, then it's time to create your outline. Now, you don't even have to create your headline at this point. Just skip that and just create a very rough outline of your post and the points you want to talk about. Keep it super simple here and just decide on what headings you think you probably want to use in the post. And if you want along the way, if you think of some ideas or some points you want to put under some of the headings, go ahead and jot down a few messy notes under those. Do not worry about spelling, grammar, any of that at this point. Don't even fucking worry about it. That's just going to be wasting your time. This outline should be just a very rough starting point for where you're going to take your blog post. So for example, if you're writing a blog post that's going to be about 5 easy tips to train your Chihuahua, you're probably going to want to use each of those 5 tips as a header in your blog post. Then you might jot down some notes under each header about things that you want to remember to include later on when you do the bulk of the writing. Once you have your rough outline, go ahead and start gathering the resources you're going to need to write your post. Now, if you really want to write fast, you want to choose a topic you're already super familiar with so you don't need lots of resources. However, that is not always possible, especially if you are doing ghostwriting or writing for clients or something like that. In those cases, you definitely want to gather some resources beforehand. Now, you're probably not going to be able to gather every resource you're going to use, but it is good to start with some different sites you can pull information from. Typically, what I do before I write is gather some resources and just paste a bunch of links to them at the top of the Word doc I'm writing my blog post in. It's good to have those resources there so you can easily reference them later on when you're writing, and then as you write, you can continue to add resources at the top of your doc. That way, if you leave your Word doc and come back to it later, you don't have to leave like 20 tabs up in your internet browser. You can just open them up and pick up right where you left off. Now, if you're also creating a content upgrade or doing SEO for this blog post, you want to plan that stuff out in advance too. So put your SEO keywords at the top of your Word doc next to the resources. Again, do not worry about grammar, spelling, making a beautiful Word document. We're not worried about that at this point. This is for your eyes only, so do not be a perfectionist. At least not yet. Step number 3 is write a shitty first draft. So at this point, you're going to have a lot of resources pulled up. You're going to have an outline, something to help you get started. Write without holding back. Do not proofread. Do not self-edit. Don't do that at all. Just focus on getting your ideas out there as quickly as possible. You can even put time limits on yourself if that helps you. So say you're writing a 3,000-word blog post and you have one day to get it done. Give yourself a few hours in the morning to write 1,500 words of it, and then give yourself a few hours in the afternoon to write the remaining 1,500 words. That way you break up the writing process and you don't get so fatigued and just burnt out from writing so much. Another tip while you're doing this to make it seem less daunting is to view each header as a mini blog post. Now this is mostly if you're writing long form blog posts. For example, if you're writing a blog post that you want to have around 2,000 words and you have 4 headers in that post, just see each of those headers as its own 500-word blog post. That's not taking the introduction and conclusion into account, but you get the picture. Breaking it up this way and just changing your mindset to think about it this way makes the whole task seem a lot easier to manage. When you write your shitty first draft, I also suggest writing all the body content first, and then at the end going back to write the introduction and the conclusion. This is what I do, and I found that it makes it a lot easier to come up with a creative approach to both of those sections once I've already written the main content, because after you've written the main content, you kind of have more of a feel of the direction the blog post is going. Step number 4 is give your blog post a day to simmer. And by that, I just mean don't start editing or plan to publish the second you're done writing. It helps a lot to wait a couple days or even just one day before you look at the post again to proofread and edit. Because let's face it, especially if you're writing a long form blog post, you're gonna be sick of looking at that thing. So go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and come back to your blog post with a fresh set of eyes. And that brings us to step number 5, which is edit ruthlessly. This is the time to do things like removing any fluff, adding in any content when necessary, refining sentence structure, fixing flow problems, adding in statistics, images, extra data to back up your points, and even adding in more personality into your blog post. If you want to add some humor in there, or you want to change the way you talked about something in your post, this is a good time to do that. Of course, you'll also want to do basic proofreading, check for spelling, grammar, tense, all that kind of stuff. Now, pro tip, if you're like me and you hate editing and proofreading your work, just outsource that. Hire an editor or a proofreader to take care of it for you. That way you don't spend hours obsessing over every minor detail. That's definitely what I do, so it has helped me so much having a second set of eyes on my work. Definitely a good thing to try. You can also use online editing tools like Grammarly or Hemingway app. Just make sure you don't trust these online tools blindly. Yes, they can be helpful, but it's always better to get a second set of eyes on your content before you publish. When you're done editing and proofreading, read your post out loud one last time before you hit publish. This is a really good way to spot those last-minute typos and errors, and this will really help you make sure you've written your blog post in a conversational way that's going to be engaging for other people to read, not in some weird robotic tone that no one's going to be able to relate to. Once you're done editing and proofreading, hit publish. You are good to go. If you want more help writing blog posts fast, I have a free resource for you in the description box below. Be sure to grab that so you can boost your writing speed and write better blog posts. That's all I've got for you today, my friends. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.